Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how I make my vegan lemon meringue pie. So first, we're going to talk about our crust. I'm going to be using a graham cracker crust, a vegan, accidentally vegan one. This is the one I'm using. I'm using a 10-inch pie crust here. So if you want to bake a crust or make a crust, you can do a regular pie crust. You can do a graham cracker crust. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So we're just going to be doing a graham cracker crust, pre-made, easy peasy. We're going to need some lemons. I have 6 small lemons here. You're going to need about 5 to 6 small lemons, depending. We're looking to get about a cup of juice, and we're going to zest some, probably not all. We want about a tablespoon of lemon zest. We're going to be making the meringue using this animal-free egg white protein powder. It works just like egg whites. And we're going to be using evaporated coconut milk. So those are the little more niche ingredients. We're also going to be using powdered sugar, regular sugar. Obviously mine are sugar substitutes, cornstarch, vanilla extract. I'm out of vanilla extract, so I'm using vanilla bean paste, cream of tartar for the meringue, and then optionally, to make it look more yellow, you can use some yellow food coloring. I'm using the Watkins food coloring that's made with vegetable juice and spices. It's got no artificial dyes in it, if that is something you are interested in. So like I said, we're going to start by zesting and juicing our lemons. I am going to zest all the lemons, but I'm only going to use a tablespoon of it. So if you have extra, that's okay. You can use it for lots of different things. I even like to put it like in a cocktail, if that's something you're interested in. That's fun. You can kind of like mix it with the sugar and do like a lemon sugar rim if you're doing like a lemon drop or something like that. It's really fun. But anyway, so we're going to zest, juice, and then we'll measure. All right, we got our zest. And something else I forgot to mention, make sure that you wash your lemons before you zest them. Make sure you wash them. Also keep in mind that some citrus are coated in beeswax, so your best bet is to go for organic and try to check if they have beeswax. If that doesn't matter to you, then don't worry about it. All right, now we're gonna juice these bad boys. And also, one more thing, I forgot to mention, you don't have to use the lemon zest if you don't want to. It adds such a nice punch of lemon flavor though. I really do recommend it. All right, and we got our cup of lemon juice, and you might be wondering, can I use like bottled lemon juice? Yeah, you totally could. I don't think that it will be quite as fresh, especially without your lemon zest, but you can do it. And as you see, I might have some seeds and some like pulp in here. That's totally fine too. I'm actually going to, when I add this to the cornstarch and sugar, I'm gonna be pouring it through a fine mesh sieve, so it'll catch any little bits and bobs. So we want a nice smooth lemon curd in our meringue, lemon meringue pie. Speaking of, we're gonna take a small saucepan. I'm gonna turn it on low, like a medium low, and we're gonna add our cornstarch and our granulated sugar. All right, so I added a half a cup of cornstarch, and we're using a full cup of sugar. I'm using the monk fruit in the raw with allulose. You can use normal sugar if you want, it doesn't matter. Now we're gonna get our fine mesh strainer over our pot, and we're just gonna pour in slowly. And we're gonna mix it in a little bit at a time with a whisk so that our cornstarch doesn't clump. All right, and now we're gonna add in our lemon zest and give that a mix too. Now we are going to add in our evaporated coconut milk. So this is a thick boy. It's basically coconut cream. So we're going to mix that in. We're going to turn up the heat, and we're going to stir this baby constantly until it starts to bubble and thicken. And you can add 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon of yellow food coloring. Just add a couple of drops at a time and continue to whisk it until you get it that nice yellow color. You don't have to add it. I feel like it'll be more rustic if you don't, but the traditional lemon meringue uses egg yolk, so that's why it gets that yellow color. It's actually not because of the lemon. So if that's something that matters to you, you can go ahead and add that in too. All right, so we got all that in there. You really want to whisk up those clumps. You want the clumpy, like fatty bits and all of the liquid. You don't want to lose any of that. And we're just going to continue to whisk this as it starts to heat through. Even as it starts to bubble, we want it to thicken up. That's why we added the cornstarch. And once it starts to thicken up, then we will start adding our food coloring if you are choosing to do so. But as you can see, with the coconut milk, it's very pale. So I'm going to add food coloring. All right, now after about 10 minutes, it's starting to thicken. Now we got to add our food coloring. All right, it doesn't show up very well on camera, but I added some yellow food coloring. It looks more traditional now. And I took it off the heat. It is nice and thick. Now we got to pour this in our pie crust. All right, now that our lemon curd is done, we are going to pop this bad boy in the fridge. You need to refrigerate it for at least 2 hours, and then we're going to make our meringue. But you can let this set for longer. 2 to 4 hours is pretty good in my opinion. And we're going to make the meringue, and then we're not going to torch it with a blowtorch. I know that is like, oh my gosh, that's cool, but why would I ever get a blowtorch? I'm not going to do a blowtorch. I'm going to show you guys an alternative to using a blowtorch. All right, now it's time for us to make our meringue. So I'm using 1/4 cup of the animal-free egg white protein powder. Basically, we're trying to do about 4 egg whites worth. And I've got over here 1/2 cup of water. So I'm putting it in my like little mini blender just to help get all this mixed up really well. So I give it a really good shake just to get all of the stuff mixed in there well. And we're just gonna blend it up. So it's all nice and frothy in there. Now we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. So we're adding a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm using a vanilla bean paste because I'm out. We're adding a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And then we're going to add a cup of powdered sugar. I'm using my monk fruit erythritol powdered sugar. All right, that is perfect. Now we're going to add it to our stand mixer. I know this seems crazy, but trust me, it's going to work. We're going to add it to our stand mixer, or you could put it in another bowl and use a hand mixer to beat it, but it's all like nice and frothy and beautifully mixed in there. So now we want to create some air in it with a beater. Alright, there we are. Look at those fluffy little clouds. So blending it first really does help, in my opinion, for the egg white protein powder to really incorporate well. And doing this all together, it makes it go faster. It took me about 10 minutes in the stand mixer to get these fluffy clouds. So there is our meringue. Now we just got to put it on top of our pie, and I will show you guys how I toast it. All right, and now we're just gonna slather this on here. Now what I like to do is just kind of make some cute little mounds with the back of my spatula. It makes it really pretty when it toasts. Now we are going to set our oven to broil on high. You want to make sure that you have a rack of your oven, not all the way to the top, but relatively close, enough for your pie to have some room. Once this puppy heats up, we're gonna pop that in there, and we want to keep an eye on it. So keep your oven door open because it can burn really fast. All right, now we got our guy in here, and we're gonna let that sucker toast up. And there she is, guys. It only takes like a minute or two, and you want to keep an eye on it and rotate it if there's any pieces that look like they're toastier than others so it doesn't burn. And she is gorgeous. Now we're gonna pop her back in the fridge. She needs to chill for another 2 to 3 hours before we cut into it. Look at that. Some of the crust broke when I was taking it out. The first slice is always the ugliest, but look at that lemon meringue, guys. Oh my goodness. She is beautiful, fluffy, but crispy on the top. a nice lemon curd. Yes, this one is a winner. If you guys miss having a lemon meringue pie, this is a great recipe, and I hope you guys give this one a try. Enjoy!